first thing you're going to need to make the castle is the Add Mesh Wall add-on, which I will provide a link for in the description. And also, if you're unsure about how to install the add-on, I have created a video about manually installing add-ons, which I will also provide a link for you so you can watch and figure out how to where you can download and install that. Alright, so I'm going to delete my default cube here and press Shift A, and under Mesh, now that I have the Add Mesh Wall installed, you should see a little icon here like a power plug. It says Block Wall. You click on it and make sure you don't click off of it because that will cancel your ability to edit the properties. So I'm going to hit 1 to go into front view and hit T to bring up my tools, and you'll see a little subcontext menu here, which if I drag this out says add a masonry wall. We're going to click that. Under construct, we have the start of this wall, and I'm going to bring that over to the beginning of the main grid line here. And I'm going to turn the edging all the way off because you can use the edging to interlock your pieces if you want to do that, but in this example we're not going to be doing it that way, just because I think it's creates a situation that's not as clean as I would like it to be. So I'm going to turn the edging down to 0, and on end I'm going to click that up and it will make the wall wider, and I'll bring it to about right over here and bring the top up a little higher to about right there. You know what, actually I'm going to bring that top down lower because we're going to make 2 sets of walls. We're going to make a base set of really big stones and then an upper one of smaller stones. So I'm going to bring this to about right here. Under block sizing, I'm going to click merge blocks, and what this does, as you can see, when it's merge blocks is unselected, you pretty much just get your basic brick layout here, and when you click merge blocks it starts changing up the shape of them, which looks much more organic and a lot cooler, more the time era that we want to go for. So I'm going to make these fairly big, the width of these fairly wide, because as I said before, I want to make this bottom base pretty big. And the variance, that controls, well, you have the width, then you have the minimum width. So the variance controls the randomness between the minimum and the maximum width. So I'm just going to kind of fool around with this and eyeball it until it looks a decent size. And then I'm going to increase the height of them because I want these bottom blocks to be fairly big. And I'm also going to increase the minimum, but I'm going to bring up the variance. And I'm not getting as much of the merging as I would like. So maybe I should turn that width down a little bit. A lot of this is just kind of eyeballing it till you kind of find something you like. That's about decent. And the grout, that is the space in between the bricks. And for our purposes, I'm going to leave that actually pretty small, to about 0.5. Well, no, excuse me, 0.05. And that doesn't leave much distance in there at all. But there's a reason I'm doing that for down the road. And a few other settings here. You have the variation. of the thickness of the grout, and I like to bring that up real high because the more stuff sticking out, and jagged and not very uniform, the more it looks like it's actually old, that was built near the period. So I'm gonna, and you'll notice that all your geometry changes a lot as you edit each of these settings. So you kind of gotta keep an eye on it. But since this is going to be the bottom part, I'm going to turn this window here, is you control it under the opening settings, and I'm going to turn that off so that I can get a better idea of what this is looking like here. I'm going to turn that variance down a little bit, and kind of hard to see with the grout. Oh, my grout is now at -43. I don't know how that happened. Turn that back to what it was. And not too bad. Not too bad for the bottom level. I do want to increase the height a little bit because I want these blocks overall to be a little bit bigger. Alright, that's good enough for my purposes. Okay, so I'll get into these other options here in a second when I create the second part of the wall. But for right now, this is good. I'm going to hit T to hop out of my tools, which I also have it set up to where it brings up this other information here, which is normally I have to hit N, but I just have them both consolidated to T brings them down and T brings them up. Anyway, as I was talking about earlier, if you click off of the wall and see all the settings here, you can no longer edit those specific settings anymore, which is a bummer. However, there is one good thing to that. Say I put my cursor over here and I go to add another one. If I add another one, all my exact settings I used on that wall are still there. So in essence, I could really, say I still wanted to edit this and I accidentally clicked off of it, I could just put my cursor back there and delete this, hit Shift A, and then add another one. And essentially I've got all my editing back for it. But so alright, so now we basically have our base wall here, and so I want to go ahead and move this. So I'm going to select it, hit M, and then select the layer I want to move it to, which is just this one under here. Now if you go there, there it is. But I just want to hide it for now, get it out of the way, so I can make the wall that's going to go on top of it. So I'm going to hit Shift S to get my cursor back to the center. And I'm going to press Shift A, Mesh, and add another block wall. I'm going to go into front view. I'm going to hit T, bring up my tools, and this time I want the width of the blocks to be a little smaller, and actually the height was okay. That's about good. And I'm going to make it taller, so I'm going to, under the construct, I'm going to change the top to go higher to about like that. And all that's still fine. I'm going to click on openings and just kind of fool with these settings a little bit here. And like I said, your geometry will get pretty crazy as this thing tries to figure out exactly how to merge all these settings into one. But just keep fooling with it. And I like that okay. I'm going to make it not so tall. That looks alright. And I'm going to, if you move it up where it says bottom, you can make it go higher or lower. And if you click on repeat, it will fill it with the openings, the windows essentially. And to change the amount on your block wall, you use the indent. So I'm gonna bring it down, paying attention to what the geometry is looking like too, to about to where I just have 4 here, and I want to kind of fool with it until it doesn't look so screwy. And that's good. That's about decent. Alright, that's a decent looking wall. So now you can also put a bottom arch on these windows, which I have no interest in that for right now. And you can also add slots to the bottom, which basically works similar to the windows there. But I'm not going to use those for these. Now the crenels, which I have no doubt I'm pronouncing that wrong, we are going to do because those are the cool rigidy things, like on a rook chess piece and on all cool castles. And it looks like my openings are kind of a little too high, so I'm going to go back up to my openings and drag the bottom down until, there we go. Alright, under the crenels, you essentially you just control the height of them and the width, which controls ultimately how many are going to be in there. And I want it about like that. That looks decent. And I think that about does it. Well, I'm not liking how these openings are looking now. The geometry has changed again. No, I lost my kernels. That's no good. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, you just kind of got to tweak these settings a little bit till everything comes into harmony. So that's a decent looking for my top wall. And so I'm going to hit T to get some of my screen real estate back and go off that. Now I'm going to, I want to go into front view, grab this up, bring it up. Then I want to go back into this other layer and grab my little base wall here. I'm going to hit M to move it back into the first layer with this other thing. I'm going to grab this and constrain it with the middle mouse to about right there. And now I've got a little bit more variation in my bricks, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to have kind of smaller top bricks and kind of bigger base bricks down here, just to add a little variation in it. But I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to join them, which turns it all into one object. You can go to Object, Join right here.